Hi. In this section, what I'd like to do is talk about enthymemes. What is an enthymeme? Well, according to your book, according to Hurley anyway, an enthymeme is an argument that is expressible as a categorical syllogism, but that is missing a premise or a conclusion. All right. In short, here's basically what happens. We've seen this probably in two types of cases. In one type of case, the premise is just not worth expressing, or is so taken for granted that the author may not feel that it needs to be expressed. For example, if I was talking about downloading free music from the internet, I might say that downloading free music from the internet is wrong because it's stealing. Now, I've got one conclusion, which is that downloading music from the internet is wrong, and I've got a premise, actually, which is that downloading music from the internet is stealing. Okay? Now, what's missing, of course, is the premise that stealing is wrong. Well, everybody knows stealing is wrong. Well, maybe not everybody, but it is. It's part of the definition of stealing. You can take things, but if you take things and it's not wrong, it's not called stealing. It's a definitional thing. All right. The second is the fallacy of begging the question, right? Sometimes people leave out important key premises, and if you want to call someone when begging the question, not only is it a good idea to put their premise in there, but then to analyze their argument with the controversial premise and show how it's problematic. Okay? So in either case, what we want to do is, in order to identify this argument as a categorical syllogism, is bring that missing premise or conclusion back in. All right? Now, I'm going to talk about two different ways of doing this. The first way is what I'll call the intuitive way. And let's take a look at this first thing here. Any form of cheating deserves to be punished, and plagiarism is a form of cheating. All right? Now, notice that we have two statements, and they're joined by and. And we need to go back to our indicators and remember that and joins like statements. In the case of a categorical syllogism, you have two premises and one conclusion. So obviously what and is joining is two premises. So what we want to do is figure out what the conclusion is. So let's see. Any form of cheating deserves to be punished, and plagiarism is a form of cheating. I wonder what they could be getting at. Perhaps could they be trying to tell us that plagiarism should be punished? Okay, so the conclusion then to this enthymeme is plagiarism should be punished. Oops. By the way, as you see me type these things, you'll see why sometimes my emails or postings have so many typos. So that's a conclusion, boom, and then we're done. All right, in this case, what we've done is we've identified the conclusion that's missing. Now, let's say we can't do it intuitively. Let's say that we can't figure out how to do this problem without some extra help. We can use the same skills that we used in 5.5, really, and translate the statements we have into categorical statements, and then that will give us a clue as to what we're looking for. All right? So let's move this part up. Okay? Up, up, up. Up. Let's see. It doesn't seem to want to move. Come on. It still doesn't seem to want to move. All right, you can tell this is live because it's not cooperating. So let's see if it'll move. There it goes. Up, 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 up. Okay. This is the closest I get to Steven Spielberg. All right. So now we've got this. Only nonprofit organizations are exempt from paying taxes. Let's change that. There we go. Taxes. So churches must be exempt. Now, notice in this case what we have is the conclusion indicator, so, right? And that tells us that we've got a premise and a conclusion. Okay? The premise, only nonprofit organizations are exempt from paying taxes. Conclusion, churches must be exempt. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn these into categorical statements. Let's start with the conclusion. Churches must be exempt. All right? So let's say, what are we saying? It must be all churches are organizations that are exempt. Okay? Now, normally that would be fine, but in this case, we know it's exempt from paying taxes, so let's do that. Exempt from paying taxes. Okay, there's the conclusion. Now, the premise here, we need to use, we have two terms here, right? We have churches, and we have organizations that are exempt from paying taxes. Those are each going to have to be used twice. All right? So we know that the next statement has to include one of those and a second term. So we've got only non-profit organizations are exempt from paying taxes. Okay? If you'll remember from 4.7, when we have only A or B, it becomes all B or A. So we know that all organizations that are exempt from paying taxes okay, so we've taken care of this part right here. Okay, and just take care of that. All right, and so we know we have churches left. All organizations that are exempt from paying taxes are nonprofit organizations, right? Okay, so now we have churches, and now we also have, me trying to be fancy, we have nonprofit organizations. All right, so we know that this missing premise has to have churches and nonprofit organizations. And what could they be implying here? Well, if it's saying all organizations that are exempt from paying taxes are nonprofit organizations, therefore all churches or organizations exempt from paying taxes, it must be that what we're saying here is that all churches are nonprofit organizations, right? Because we have to use churches and we have to use nonprofit organizations. Some are, all are, no are, some are not. We've got to use one of those four forms. And it seems what they're implying is that all churches are nonprofit organizations. Okay, so we're going to use all are. We're going to plug in churches from below. We are going to say are, and then nonprofit organizations. Okay, and of course, this is a premise. We've used churches and nonprofit organizations. It's in standard form, and there you have it. So now you have two ways of looking at enthymemes and trying to find the missing premise or conclusion. Remember, first, determine what's missing. Use the indicator words. Is it a premise or is it a conclusion? And then if you can't figure out intuitively, sometimes you can look at it and just tell that it's missing or what's missing. And if you can't do it intuitively, try translating them into categorical statements and see what's left. All right? I hope this video is helpful and that it helps you figure out enthymemes. Bye.